Why are you waiting for a sign to begin? Most of you live your lives as if you are standing in a waiting room, expecting a grand gate to open or a master to hand you a key to the spiritual world. You treat enlightenment like a destination you must travel toward, yet you cannot even define where you are currently standing. This is the first failure of your inner logic. You believe that spirituality is a switch you turn on, or a path you step onto at a specific moment in time. The truth is far more unsettling to the ego. There is no starting line because the engine has been running since the moment of your first breath. You are already in the middle of the process. You are not starting a journey. You are simply beginning to notice that you have been walking in your sleep for decades. When you ask, "Where should I start?" you are asking a geographical question about a non-physical reality. You can only ever start from exactly where you are. You cannot start in a temple if you are currently standing in a marketplace. You cannot start in peace if your mind is currently a battlefield. This is not a religious mystery. It is a point of spiritual engineering. If you try to start from a place of holiness that you do not yet possess, you are building a structure on a void. You must begin with the raw material of your current state, your confusion, your hunger, and your restlessness. To start is simply to open your eyes and acknowledge the machinery that is already in motion. You are not creating a new life. You are finally attending to the one that has been happening without your permission. Observe the architecture of your own desires. You think you want money. You think you want power, or knowledge, or the touch of another human being. You label these things as materialistic or worldly, and you feel a sense of guilt or a sense of pride in pursuing them. But look closer at the mechanism behind the hunger. Why do you want more of anything? If you analyze the system of the soul, you will find that every craving is actually a spiritual process being conducted unconsciously. You are an infinite being trying to expand your territory. Because you are currently unaware of your own internal vastness, you try to expand by accumulating external things. You try to become more by adding zeros to a bank account or titles to a name. It is a misguided attempt at infinity. It is like a man trying to fill a bottomless well by throwing pebbles into it. The well is not the problem. The man's understanding of the well's depth is the problem. When you pursue wealth or pleasure, you are essentially trying to solve a spiritual equation using the wrong variables. You are looking for the infinite in the finite. This is why no amount of success ever feels like enough. The mechanism is designed for total expansion, but you are feeding it restricted fuel. If you conduct this process unconsciously, you will flounder at every step. You will be like a driver pressing the accelerator with their eyes closed, wondering why they keep hitting walls. Spiritual engineering is the act of taking this raw, chaotic hunger and aligning it with its true objective. It is the realization that your greed is not a sin but a misdirected search for your own divinity. Once you understand the mechanism, you stop trying to suppress the longing and instead begin to refine the direction of the flow. There is a mechanical trap that most seekers fall into. They mistake mental alertness for spiritual awareness. This is a fundamental error in the architecture of the mind. Mental alertness is a high-performance survival software developed over millions of years. It allows you to navigate traffic, calculate risks, and avoid social blunders. It is the biological engine's way of ensuring the organism does not perish before its time. But alertness is not awareness. Alertness is focused. It is a laser beam directed at an object or a problem. Awareness, however, is the light that illuminates the entire room, including the lamp itself. Right now, are you here? Do you know that you are here? That simple, unblinking realization, the self-knowing that exists before you think a single thought, is awareness. If you are poked while you are asleep, you suddenly become there. But as a master of your own consciousness, you do not wait to be poked by life's tragedies to wake up. You learn to sustain this there-ness intentionally. Most people have varying levels of awareness throughout the day, flickering like a faulty bulb. The goal of our engineering is to stop the flicker and stabilize the beam. Awareness is the difference between surviving a life and actually experiencing it. In the physical world, the clarity of a photograph depends on the amount of light hitting the sensor. In the inner world, the clarity of your reality depends on your internal voltage. If your energy is low, your consciousness is dim. In that dimness, you see very little. You misinterpret the shadows for monsters, and the obstacles for dead ends. When you engage in consistent practice, you are not performing a religious rite. You are winding up your internal mechanism. You are increasing the voltage. As the voltage rises, the light of awareness becomes so bright that it begins to reveal dimensions beyond mere survival. You start to perceive the subtle architecture of life that is hidden from those operating on low power. Think of your spiritual growth not as an intellectual accumulation of facts, but as an upgrade to your power supply. You do not work on being more spiritual. That is a vague concept. You work on your energy. You keep your system primed and your lights bright. When the voltage is high enough, the truth of your existence is no longer a belief. It becomes a living experience that requires no proof. You see things as they are, not as your fears have painted them. When you begin to raise your internal voltage, you encounter a new technical challenge: entanglement. In the realm of inner engineering, high energy is a double-edged sword. If you increase the power flowing through a system that has no insulation or structural integrity, the system will melt. We see this mechanical failure in those who gain great influence, wealth, or even sudden spiritual openings without the character to contain them. Think of an adolescent bursting with life, driven by a surge of new energy, yet constantly colliding with the world. They have the power, but they lack the stability. To be an awakened human is to possess the current of a lightning bolt while maintaining the stillness of a mountain. If you have the energy but lack the stability, you will simply become more efficiently destructive or more deeply entangled in your own ego. Your practice is the process of building that insulation. It is the architectural work of ensuring that as your awareness expands, your groundedness deepens. You learn to hold great power without being consumed by it. You learn to move through the world with high-intensity energy while remaining entirely unattached to the friction of the machine. The final shift in this engineering process is the move from effort to existence. Throughout this journey, you may have felt that you were building something, but the ultimate revelation is that you were simply clearing the debris from a masterpiece that was already finished. Once your energies are heightened and your stability is set, there is nothing left for you to do. The spiritual process, which once felt like a steep climb, reveals itself to be a natural descent into your own center. You stop trying to become something and simply begin to enjoy the mechanism as it was intended to function. You realize that you were never broken, never lost, and never truly starting from zero. You were merely a master who had forgotten the controls of their own soul. The fear of death, the sting of failure, and the confusion of the mind are revealed to be nothing more than shadows cast by a dim light. Now, with the voltage high and the vision clear, you see that life is not a problem to be solved, but a process to be witnessed. You are no longer the driver struggling in the dark. You are the awareness in which the entire universe is illuminated. You are finally fully awake,